Well, it's happened. I'm now a cyclist. That was really bad. So why do this now? Why even pick up this particular hobby right now? God knows why, to be honest with you. It's not like I'm wanting for things that I want to do at this point in time. But you know, being able to say, hey, I'm gonna try something new and I'm gonna try my best to be good at it, that's motivation enough, I guess. But at the same time, you know, none of us are getting any younger. And as Robbie Williams once said, youth is wasted on the young. Well, I wish I'd picked this up in my youth, but here we are, so let's make the most of it. So let's talk you through the gear. As past me or future me, no idea, tells you what this is all about. Oh my god. Just one climb and I'm already dead. What's up guys, future me here, and we're going to be talking about the gear that's on this bike real quick. Okay, so we start off at the front with sensor ignite shifters. We have a Luce 100mm front stem together with Luce wheels, 700C, internal rim width I think of something like 19mm. So I'm putting 28C tires on this right now. I've got Veroli tires on this, which replace the original Innova tires. We have an OZ ounce Pro Wheel front crankset together with a 50 and 34 tooth chainring. We have front and rear Shimano Sora derailleurs. We also have a Sunshine 11 to 28 tooth rear cassette, and we've got these no-name 140mm mechanical disc brakes front and rear. No idea where they're from. Now back to me panting on a hillside somewhere. All right, so how does the bike feel? Well, it's a beginner bike. And to be honest with you, I've never had a road bike until today. Never had one before this. I've had mountain bikes. I even bought a mountain bike first. Stay tuned for videos about that, by the way, because we're going to be hitting some of the trails around Bukit Kiara and whatnot. But like, it feels light, it feels agile. The tires, for anybody that's got a mountain bike background, they'll look at the tires and think, oh, those are skinny. Those aren't going to hold my weight. But you know what they do? Pump them up to the right PSI, you'll be fine. And it feels different. I've got my first pair of clipless shoes. I've got my first set of clip shoes, and it feels so different from what I've been used to before this, because, well, you know, coming from the mountain biking life, the road cycle life is very, very different. All right, so let's talk numbers. How much would it cost to get into cycling? Well, you can get bikes from as cheap as 600, 700 ringgit, which are probably going to be really heavy and most likely quite poorly made. And you can go all the way up to, I think the most expensive one that I've seen on sale so far is 60,000 ringgit. Thankfully, the bike that I have isn't that much. It's 1,400 ringgit, which depending on the exchange rate right now could either be a little under or a little over $300 US, which is a pretty good baseline from which you can start exploring the hobby of cycling. And it really depends on how much you want to spend on it, how much money and effort and time you're willing to put into it, because that ultimately dictates whether or not the price that you pay, at least the initial upfront cost, is worth it for you. And you know, there's also the fact that I'm a Lifesetter now, and you've got to accept that if you're wanting to live the Lifesetter life, you can't just say it and then not do anything. You've got to get out there, you've got to experience life, you've got to take the bull by the horns, you've got to experience things, you know? And you're not going to experience things sitting in an office, you know, on your chair, picking fights with people on the internet, which is what I still do, by the way. And just letting life pass you by, really. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm out. It's actually what? It's 1 p.m. on a random Thursday. And here I am out on my bike because I just want to get out there and seize it. Seize the moment. Whatever that means. Whatever the moment is, however that moment comes. And whether or not there's an end in sight. There probably isn't. Life is a journey after all. And you can't say then that, you know, you've completed. You know, it's like championship manager or football manager, you know, in video games. You can't complete it. And that, I guess, is one thing you can think about as you're slaving your way up another 10% gradient hill, out of breath, wondering about your life choices, thinking about, oh, do I really need to do this? Should I have done this? But I guess the more tragic thing would be to not do anything at all. You know? Yes, it's going to be a bit of a money sink. It's going to be a bit of a time sink as well. No hobby is without expense in some form, whether it's your time or your energy or your effort. There's always going to be... Ooh, that's a nice car. Some guy just drove past me in a purple Lambo. There is no denying that anything that you want to put your mind to, that anything you want to sacrifice, anything that you want to invest in requires some kind of sacrifice, right? Ooh, bump. And you just got to make that choice, you know? And if you don't make that choice, what's the point? If you don't decide that life is meant for living, if you don't decide that life is meant for experiences, then you're not living, my friend. You're not living at all. So I guess closing thoughts from my ride. Been at this for half an hour now, heading home soon. And the thing about being on a bike is that you literally can't concentrate on anything else. You have to be focused on the road, what's ahead of you, what could be coming up behind you, like this guy. Yeah. And just being present, you know, being in your surroundings. At least when you start. Once you get the hang of it, and you sort of know your limits and you sort of understand, you know, mechanically what you're supposed to do on a bike, how you're supposed to balance, all that stuff. That's when you discover that your mind starts to wander a little bit. And that's good though. It's cleansing, you know, because everybody knows that when you exercise, dopamine, serotonin, blah blah blah, right? All that good stuff. And the worries of the day just kind of melt away. They disappear. They sort of fade into the background, into the periphery, if I may use the parlance myself. And that's what you want, really, after a long day out. Some people might go to the gym, some go for boxing classes. Me, I'm glad I found cycling, and I hope it'll stay with me.